Hi everyone, this is Ethan Dre with Be Creative Studios Video Tutorials, and today we're going to be doing a quick tutorial introducing you to the application Photoshop. So this is going to help you navigate throughout the application and become a little bit more familiar with it. We're going to do a little housekeeping before we get started. So if you could just go up to the menu bar and go to Window, we're going to set our workspace to Essentials, and we are going to reset Essentials just in case any panels are missing. I also want you to return to Window and check that application frame. With that application frame checked, it's going to give you that backdrop or the background for your document, whereas you might have a floating window and you can see through to your desktop. Okay, so the first thing I want to touch base on is Photoshop's menu bar. It's similar to most applications. We do have our Photoshop preferences. We can create new documents, we can open old documents, we can open recent documents, close our documents, save our documents. And once you get a little bit more familiar with Photoshop, you can start importing and exporting video, saving for web, etc. Alright, if we pop over to Edit, one thing I want to point out with Edit is if we go all the way down to the bottom, you can view your keyboard shortcuts. I cannot emphasize how important keyboard shortcuts are when working in digital media. It quickens the workflow and makes everything a lot easier. So you can edit and customize your own keyboard shortcuts through the Edit menu and keyboard shortcuts. As we continue through our menu bar, we have a lot of actions and options that we can actually complete down here in the application. So once you become more familiar and watch more tutorials and become a pro at Photoshop, you'll realize that a lot of the options up on our menu bar are available down in the application. With that being said, I want you to return to Window and I want you to go to Arrange. Now this is going to allow us to arrange the documents that we have open in Photoshop. So if I click on 2 up vertical, it's going to separate the 2 documents that I already have open into 2 evenly spaced windows. You can also click and drag the tabs of each document and pull them out of the application to create more or less a floating window. Okay, so to consolidate those windows again, you're just going to go to Window, Arrange, and you're going to consolidate all to tabs. And then you're able to navigate like tabs, similar to a web browser. Next, we're going to talk about some of these panels that are readily available by default with that essential setting. And the first thing I want to talk about is very important. It is the toolbox on the left side. Okay, so we have all of these different icons that represent the tools that you'll be using. We are currently on the Move tool, and a lot of these tools do have keyboard shortcuts assigned to them. Usually their keyboard shortcuts consist of the first letter of the tool. So for Magic Wand, we have a W. For Eraser, we have an E. Keep that in mind as we continue to learn more about Photoshop. At the top of our toolbar, we have 2 little arrows. This is just going to split the toolbar into 2 columns as opposed to 1, taking up a little bit more space on the left side. I prefer to have 1 vertical column. That way we have more of a narrow toolbox. And notice with each tool we have these settings changing up here. That's because with each tool you have different settings that you can control. Okay, so as you click through here, if there's ever anything to modify or change concerning a tool, chances are it's going to be up here in the tool settings. Now another thing you'll notice about the toolbox is there are several tools hidden underneath of each other or within the same set. So if you right click or click and hold, you'll see the other tools available within that set. Now these are just with the icons that have the drop down triangles. We also have our foreground and background color swatches at the bottom of our toolbox. But aside from that, we have our color and swatches panel in the top right. We can also choose our foreground and background color up here. Now below our color panel, we have our adjustments panel. This allows us to add adjustment layers to edit our photographs, layers, and document. We can edit settings like contrast, exposure, vibrance, saturation, etc. Below our adjustments panel, we have our layers panel. This is a very important panel to cover, which we will review in a later tutorial, but for right now, just keep in mind that this is where all of your layers in your document can be seen. Another thing about our Photoshop panels is that they're not locked into their location. By that I mean you can click on the tabs and move them about freely throughout the application. If for whatever reason you want to return to the default settings for Essentials, you're just going to go up to Window and go back to Workspace, and you're going to reset our Essentials. That's going to place all the panels in their original location. Notice some icons that don't actually have panels open. All you're going to do is click on the double arrows to expand those panels. There you'll see that we have our history and our properties panel expanded, and then you can always hide those panels as well. Lastly, you can also close out of the panels with this drop-down setting menu, and you can close the tab group. So that's going to completely close out the tab in whatever panel you have open. Alright, now we know how to navigate around Photoshop. We know where all of our basic panels are, and if any panels are missing, we also know how to reset our essential workspace. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial brought to you by Be Creative Studios. This is Ethan Dre, and please check back for more tutorials. Thanks for watching.